Hey guys, this is Steliefty with Closeout. Today I want to share a simple strategy with you guys that empowered us and allowed us to get accepted to Y Combinator, the Harvard of entrepreneurship, the most prestigious startup accelerator in the world, and how you can use the same strategy to shine in very challenging interview sessions and setups, as well as any other kind of business meeting where you're seemingly out of control. So here's the setup. Y Combinator, really prestigious accelerator around the world. Thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs and startups apply. Only very few get actually accepted to come and do an interview. And in 2011, we were one of those lucky startups that had a chance to actually interview with them. So here's the setup of an interview with Y Combinator. You walk into the room, you sit down with usually 3 to 5 partners from Y Combinator, and the clock starts ticking immediately. You have 5 minutes to share all your hopes, dreams, your plans, demonstrate your product, show tractions, do anything humanly possible to convince these guys that you have what it takes to be successful and that they should accept you into the program. Now think of this a little bit like Shark Tank, but on steroids, because on Shark Tank, those sessions go on usually for hours and then they edit it down to just a few minutes. In Y Combinator, those few minutes are everything you got. So one of the biggest challenges of that interview setting is not just that you have very little time and that you are interacting with multiple stakeholders, multiple partners, but that every interview is different. And sometimes the dynamic of that interview can go one direction or another. So you have to be pretty flexible in the way that you think about it. And at the same time, sometimes these interviews totally derail in a direction that you kind of lose full control over the interview, and then the time is over. You leave the room and you had no chance to actually say the things you wanted to say and show them really what you were all about. Too many times I talk to entrepreneurs that come out of these interviews and they are super disappointed that they not even had the chance to demo their product, or they didn't even have the chance to tell them about this great development or that big customer that they just won. There's all these things they wanted to say and they kind of didn't have a chance. The problem with it is that a lot of times the dynamic of the conversation, having multiple partners asking questions, might just completely zigzag you into nowhere land and rob you of the chance to actually shine. So here's the simple technique and how to use it and how to succeed and what we did to actually succeed. It's very simple. You need to decide before you go into the interview what the key 3 things are that you want the partners to remember when you leave the room. What are the top 3 facts, the top 3 things they need to know about you, your business, your product, what you've accomplished, to be able to make an optimal judgment in your favor? It can't be 4, it can't be 5 or 10. I know there's too many good things about you that you want to share, but you have to become an editor. You have to make hard choices and choose and prioritize. What are the top 3 things, the most positive, most impactful, most influential things we could say about our startup? And then when you walk into the room, your job is to do anything and everything to make sure that you say these 3 things, that the partners have heard these 3 facts once or maybe even multiple times before you leave the room. So when you leave the room and they turn around, they start discussing your case, you've given the partners that want to support you enough ammunition, enough facts that they're easy enough to remember so they can actually speak on your behalf and make the pitch for why you should be accepted. When we walked in, for us, these 3 things were pretty simple. We were doing a service called SwipeGood. It was a simple idea. You would sign up with your credit or debit card. We would round up every purchase that you made to the nearest dollar and took that change and gave it to your favorite cause and charity. Right? Super simple idea. When we walked in, we had a million things already done. We had raised a seed round. We had gotten some press. We had launched, although the idea was only, a few weeks old. We had, all kinds of partnerships made up. There was a huge list of things, and we wanted to talk about ourselves, our prior startup experience, our entrepreneurial experience, why we've known each other, why we've been friends. There was so much we wanted to say, but we knew we had to edit it down. So we took 3 simple facts. Number 1, we wanted them to know that since we launched, we were growing 20% week over week. Now, this statement implies a lot of good things we want them to know anyways. It implies we've launched, so we were able to actually ship software, and it implies that we're growing, right? But we didn't have to say all these things. Well, we started working on this X weeks ago. We've done this. No, we just wanted them to know since launch, we've been growing 20% week over week. The second fact we wanted them to know was that we've learned that the average roundup amount of a consumer is about $20 a month. So if we take 5% of that as a fee, we could be making $1 in revenue per month, and we could be giving $19 in recurring revenue to charities and causes all around the world. And the third fact was we wanted them to know that we tested the distribution channel of having actual charities drive traffic to our site. And we've had done that, I think, with 5 or 6 charities that had driven tens of thousands of people to our site to like customize landing pages that promoted to their donors that they should sign up with SwipeGood to give to that respective charity. And that we saw about 20% conversion rates on that traffic. You know, the basic things that we wanted to say here is that we are go-getters. We launched something. We've built something people want. We had growth. We had a business model. And we had a distribution strategy. All that by just simply saying we're growing 20% week over week. We're making $20 in transactional revenue and $1 in revenue ourselves. And we have charities and nonprofits that actually drive massive traffic to our service. 3 key simple facts. Not 10, not 20, just 3. Hey, Phil. When you walk in with that kind of clarity and that kind of simplicity in terms of your messaging, yeah, the discussion can go all kinds of ways, but you can always bring it back to these key facts. And I'll give you a quick example. Let's assume we go into the conversation and those guys start off by saying, interesting, you're doing something in the charitable space. Well, too many charities are actually not really doing anything good in the world. There's too much waste with charities, and who knows, if who knows if the charities are even the way to go to create social impact and social good. How do you stand on this, right? That's kind of a left field question, super critical, like pretty fundamental, and has kind of something to do with us, but also nothing to do with us. So how do you respond to that, right? Now, you could start actually saying no, start defending charities and say, well, there's a lot of nonprofits that do really good, and show some numbers and talk about that, and then start getting derailed on a conversation where other partners will jump in and state some facts and data, and all of a sudden 3 minutes of your interview are gone and you've been debating the fundamental validity and value of nonprofits as an organizational structure to cause social change. Wow, that's an interesting discussion, but you only have 5 minutes, right? And you waste 3 minutes on that kind of stuff, you won't have a chance to actually shine. So how do you respond when you have that level of clarity and people ask you that kind of a challenging left field question? Fundamentally, is what you're doing even that important and interesting? That's a really great question. Well, what we found is that people really want what we have because we've been growing by 20% week over week. Boom, fact number 1 on them. Fact number 2, the other interesting thing is that we've learned that people give $20 a month in roundups, which means that we could actually create real change for charities, give them real sustainable subscription revenue, which could change the way they have impact on the world. Boom, fact number 2 shared, right? Now we're telling them, hey, they're talking about the fundamental value of nonprofits, and we're telling them, hey, we've been growing 20% week over week, means people really want this. And number 2, we know that we can, drive real revenue because we have this fact of getting $20 in roundups, and we could even drop fact number 3 on them, which is like, hey, the other interesting thing is that nonprofits are starving for this kind of change, and they're already working with us, they're already driving traffic, and the traffic converts, right? Now I've shared all 3 facts, although the question had nothing to do with that at the beginning. Well, you might say, well, that was well prepared, Stella, but what if people ask something that's totally left field? Well, what if people ask, you guys seem pretty inexperienced, and I'm not really sure if you guys can work well enough together. It doesn't seem like a really cohesive team. We don't invest in teams that are not really strong and don't have a track record of success. We don't find your track record that impressive. So frankly, why should we invest in you? Has nothing to do with the company, right? Nothing to do with the product or traction or anything like that. It's a direct attack at us as the founders. Well, it's interesting that you're asking that question about us being a team and how well we can work together. Since we launched, we've been growing 20% week over week. We've been discovering that people do $20 in transactions every single month on our platform, and we can generate $1 in revenue every single month per user. And we've already convinced 5 to 10 nonprofits to work with us and drive massive traffic that converts really, really high. So I think that we've proven that we know how to build things, how to ship things, and how to grow things. And I think that's what you're really looking for in a team. Boom, right? Again, all 3 facts in a completely different context. But they're still, not explicitly, but implicitly, they're saying, you're wrong, we're a great team. Not because we're going to start talking about our history. Let's talk about the things we've already accomplished as proof and proxy for why we're a great team. No matter what they would say, if you have clarity over the key things that you want to say, the key 3 facts you want to share, and you want them to know before you leave the room, you're going to find a way to actually bring them up. Even if it's totally unrelated, you can always pause and go, you know what? That's a great question. Before I answer it, I want to make sure that you guys know that we've been growing 20% week over week. And that on average, people round up in transactions end up something around $20 per user per month. I think that's super crucial, and I want you guys to know about this. And the last thing, right? So you can always just pause and say, I'll come back to that question. Let me actually give you an answer that I want to give you that I think is really crucial and you should be aware of. If you know the key 3 things you want to share, you're going to find a way to actually communicate these things. And when you leave the room, doesn't matter if it went well or not, at least you know you've said the most important things. And now it's up to them to decide if they want to accept you or not, if they want to buy from you or not, or whatever the context of that business meeting, conversation, or interview is, right? Hire you, whatever it is. The key point here is to have clarity, because clarity equals power. And what I want you to do now is to actually sit down and think about the next meeting, interview, business call, sales call, presentation, whatever it is, the next time you're in a room, either virtual or not, with a group of people that will have power to challenge you, ask you questions, think about the next time that you're going to be in a situation like that and ask yourself, what are the key 3 things that I want to share? What are the key 3 pieces of information I want to make sure they're going to be aware of before the conversation ends? You'll see the impact that's going to have on your ability to actually have control over the conversation and control over the focus and direction of the conversation and the interaction, right? You know, nothing beats the hustle, but the people that hustle hardest are the people that actually have clarity and know what they're hustling. So be aware of the key facts and see what kind of impact and power that's going to have over the next interaction, interview, or business meeting that you're going into.